Hey, Fixie here, back at it again with another one. On this one, just a whole bunch of paintwork. I went and got a whole bunch of paintwork done on Crusty. I'm trying to move forward with this car, and there's a lot of stuff that I had to get done. So I'm going to take you along now and show you everything I got done to Crusty up to this point. Stick around. And here we are again, back at it some more. Back on Crusty. In the last video, I built these actual tipping braces that I mounted on the bottom of the car so I can get the car brought up on the side. My whole goal in this one here is to get all the bottom painted and get all the inside painted. I got to try to get some paint on this and get it done. So, on this one here, what's left to do on this now is I got to clean this stuff up here, okay? Sand this here out a bit, small bit. All this has been sanded before I turned around when I built the panels, so these panels have been sanded, okay? Up here in the wheel tubs, you can see I got everything done. Now that I got on the side, I found a couple of small spots I'm going to have to re-seam seal again. I want to seam seal possibly this section here. I'm going to seam seal. And down here in the transmission tunnel, I have a lip here that's going upwards, okay? I like to seam seal this stuff up here and this one as well, seam seal that as well. So basically the transmission tunnel is getting seam sealed and some of this stuff back here is getting seam sealed and any touch-ups that I missed. The main floors I'm not going to bother with. You can see the overlap here. This goes this way here and the overlap goes to that there. Same with this here, comes down underneath it and the overlap goes this way. So anything running off, it's going to go this way, okay? I'm not too much concerned about that. That's the way they were on a lot of the GM stuff that I've done over the years. Stuff like that wasn't seam sealed. I also got to, I'm going to put a gravel guard on this all up here, the wheel wells, and possibly might end up doing this section here. Stuff that's going to take a beating from tire spinning, from like doing burnouts in the water box and stuff like that. I'm going to put something on it to try to take a beating. What else is there? The firewall I'm leaving alone for now because I want to paint this white, okay? I'm going to paint that the same color as the car, but I do have some metal work that I got to do to it. Right here, I have a piece that I got to weld in there that got the serial number from the car on it. It was a piece of the firewall from the original car. I'm going to weld it in there, and I'm going to clean all this up here. This all got to be seam sealed as well. I might go ahead and seam seal this anyway and have it done, and that way that much of it is done. It's just that when I go to prime it, then for the last time I'll prime this here as well, so it'll just be scuffed off and painted at the same time the firewall is. I'm going to stop it right here. I'm going to have a line down along here. I might go to here yet. I'm not quite sure yet what way I'm going to do that. I might come to here and just have that there done, because that way, because then it'll fall into the transmission tunnel in here, see? And all this here will be done in black as well. I'll seam seal this here, but out here this will be white, this will be black, okay? I had intentions of doing all this in white, but it's just way too much work to try to do all this now. I gotta, you know, realize what I built here. I want to have some fun with this car, and again, my biggest problem is I come from a restoration background where I've got to have everything just so. And that can be a nightmare sometimes, because especially if you're building a car, like this is a street strip car, I want to drive it, I want to take it to the drag strip, I want to have fun with it, and God forbid that something happens and I crash it, well, that's it. So I got to watch what I'm up against here. So that's the reason why I want to do all this in black, because it's just quicker and easy, and it's got some paint on it. You know, it looks pretty cool the way it is there now, but if you get up next to it, there's a lot of wear and tear on the panels where I sanded them and stuff like that, right? But I want to get some paint and like just spots right here where there's no paint on nothing, right? I'm going to knock the heads off of this stuff here, and I'm going to run over it with a bit of 100. And then down here I have some spots that I got to grind off. There's little nibs here, little nibs of welding. I got to strike with a grinder. I'll knock the head off of them, and I'll get all that stuff seam sealed up. So that's my goal here today. I got a few hours to spare. I've been picking and poking at this, so I'm going to turn around and see if I can get this all sanded and seam sealed. So here's room 2. I got everything sanded and grinded, and I come across a few high spots. I tapped them down. I dressed everything up. Had a look at everything, and if there's any knobs or anything, I grinded them off. Got it all nice and smooth. Back here, give it a quick sanding. Got rid of all the burn marks that were on everything. Okay. Back through here, I give the wheel tubs another quick little rub. Just to say that I gave them a little rub. But that is basically it there now. I'm good. That's good enough for what I want it for. What I got to do now is I got to seam seal up everything that I got to seam seal up. So I'm sizing up a lot of things here and thinking about a lot of stuff. I'm going to seam seal up the firewall transmission tunnel right here, coming right back through to the end. Back here, I'm going to seam seal these sections here. You can see it better down here. There's lips there. I'm going to seam seal that section there as well on both sides. Other than that, I think everything else is going to be left alone. Oh, and seam seal these edges here. So I'm going to do this edge here all the way around, and the one on the bottom all the way around. And that will be it for that. I'll be quite content with that then. I think the rest of it will be just paint. Not going to get too concerned with any of it. Like all this stuff here, these are seam sealed from the top side. These ones here, they're all done from the top side. So I'm not going to be concerned about them. Same with these ones here, they're all done from the top side. I'm going to seam seal this one here. Up as far, just go around the corner here on both sides, because I'll do that there later. I just want to get it so that I can tape it off here and paint it from here down. I'm not going to get right into the firewall right now. Yeah, because I must have it upright to do that. It's too awkward to work with here now. I haven't got a lot of room in around here and standing up and whatnot, so I'll cross that bridge. Anyway, what I'm going to start now, I'm going to get everything here ready. I'm going to start applying seam sealer. Same as before. Old brushable seam sealer, the Mini Shore Seal. I got a cup there for thinners. I'm probably going to smooth it out a bit because it's the bottom side of the car. I don't know yet. I'll decide that when I look at it. And I got an old cheap brush there. So let's get seam sealing. So I went ahead and I got that all seam sealed up. Only done as far as there because I'm only painting from there down. I'll do the firewall later. I got all the transmission tunnel done. And then I come back here and I turned around and I said, well, I'm going to do these sections here now while I'm at it. I'm going to do everything in the area of where the tire spins. I'm going to put some seam sealer on the edges. And then I realized I never had a lot left. So I just kept going. Seam seal all around this here, seam seal the edges here, around here, down along the bottom here, in along the back edge here, in along the back edge here, all this section right here. Then I went over and checked everything out, make sure everything's still sealed up nice in the wheel wells. And I touched up a few spots down around here where there were spot wells that I had welded. Same with down here, did the same thing. So that is pretty well it now. I'm going to let this set up overnight here now. I used up all, that's it, that's all gone. So it was 2 cans to do the bottom and the inside. I'm going to pick up another can to do the firewall. Now I leave that overnight and I can come out here and start gravel guarding all the sections that I want to gravel guard. So it's now the next day. Everything is set up here. It's all nice and dry. I'm happy with that. What I'm going to do here now is I got to tape this up. I'm just going to tape up this area. My plan is now I'm going to put gravel guard in this section here, probably here as well, on both sides. But that's it. I'm not going to gravel guard, nothing else. But I want to put it in the areas where the tires are going to be pounding on this here, and probably back here behind this as well. So that way, and forward here, probably a bit here as well, and along here. Just enough to blend it. I'm not getting carried away with taping stuff up. And if the overspray goes on stuff, overspray goes on stuff. I'm not going to be putting any type of etch primer or nothing on this here. I've sprayed a lot of this over the years. When we were at it, I used to put it right over all the bodywork. We used to call this Body Man in the can, the stuff I'm putting on this. This is the stuff here, Gravel Guard, Black Rock Guard. I like it. This is called a Schultz gun. This is the stuff that we use. We used to buy this by the case. And we used to have contracts for doing taxi cabs and use car lots and stuff like this here. And this was all the body work used to be done on the lower sides of the car. Rocker panels on it. This is what went on it. Bombs of doors, quarter panels. It was just fast. You were doing cars for $300 or $400, so you just had to basically make everything clean up. And it protected the bottom of the car from road chips because most of these cars were winter driven and they were pounded on. Stuff was good. It didn't look nice on like a nice car if you were doing up anything nice, but I liked it for the actual protection of it. I got the gun here now. It's set up for oil, so I'm going to have to clean that out. I use this here for spraying oil. But I'm going to tape it up now and put this here in the gun, give that a good shaking up, and spray that on. I'm not getting carried away with it. I'm just going to tape up what I got a Gravel Guard right now. I got to tape up the front of this here as well when it goes to paint it. But just for now, I just want to get some Gravel Guard on this section here and in this section here. And I just taped off the edge all the way around. I'll take a piece of cardboard now and hold it there so I don't get too much overspray on it. I'm not too concerned about down in here and stuff like a little bit of spray here and there. I'm more concerned about getting it on this section here. The bottom of the cars were never ever what you call, you know, well prepared. You can get carried away with this, and at the end of the day, I got a car that I'm going to drill and pound and have fun with, and I just trying to make it so that it's streetable. Okay, I'm not concerned about having it perfect by no means. Okay. Some of you guys might want to take this here now and probably spray like an etch primer or something on top of it. I'm not, okay? I'm putting a rust paint on it. I'm putting a Gravel Guard on it. It's good enough for me. But by rights, you know, if you want to, you should spray all this here, spray all your bare metal, have all that sprayed, you know, before you've done anything. But I'm putting all rust paint on this, and that's usually direct to metal stuff. The Gravel Guard's the same thing, right? So I'm going to get that Gravel Guard now, get that shook up, get the gun cleaned out, and get this here done. So I got the gun all cleaned up, and I got the regulator hooked up. That's usually to regulate the air because I got the compressor on, I think it's 120 or something like that, and I got that regulated down to about 60. And this Gravel Guard here for the Schultz gun is much similar to the stuff that you buy in a spray can. But the stuff I've always found that you buy in a spray can, it doesn't have the nice texture to it. Now, I haven't sprayed this stuff in years, so there's a lot of big liar out of me here now. But this stuff used to be very, very aggressive. It reminded me, like, we used this long before they came out with spraying box liners. And this here pretty well got the same type of texture as what a spraying box liner had, okay? But now it's after changing over the years, so I don't know what this stuff is like today. This stuff here, I find it flows too much, and it doesn't. I want that texture. If you ever look at an old car, you will see like there's sections in a car that got this real rough finish on it, and that's the effect I'm looking with this stuff here. To me, it just looks more factory. Like, I don't like wanting to have everything smooth and shiny on the bottom of a car. To me, it's overdone, okay? I've always been about toning stuff down, making stuff look original, and, you know, there's a time and a place to have everything perfect, and a car that you're going to go drag racing is not the place to do it, okay? So I'm going to go ahead now. This stuff here, you can see it's pretty thick. It's in the can there. I don't know how thick this is going to be now to come out, but it's a thick stuff. I'll get this all hooked up now and get in and start spraying it. there you have it. Body man in a can. See the texture on that? See the way it works? You can't get that texture out of the spray bombs. Okay? And that's, you know, when you bought cars, the wheel wells were always done on them. Were all sprayed with stuff. Now they're usually just done in patterns, right? And there was like an end on them. But I want to do it this way. But like I got it all done now, back through here, the back section here on both sides, up here in front. These are all the places that are going to take a pounding when you're spinning the tires in the burnout box. Same with down here. All up along there. That is one full can right there. On that section there, I got it all used up. I kept going till I run out. Had a look at everything. Now you can see I got a bit of overspray down here. I could have got carried away but then taped it all up. It's all going satin black. Okay? I'm not too concerned about it. I don't like taped edges. Like up here, you'll see this here. When you look underneath it, when all that's painted, all that look, you know, like it just flows into each other. Like, you know, I used to study the way cars were restored. And I always found that, like, now granted, I'm not restoring this car, right? But, like, I would find that people would take this stuff off. They tape it along here, and they tape it all along here, and tape it all this up in here, and then, I don't know, it just didn't look right. And, like, you crawl up underneath any production car, and you'd see that when they sprayed it. Wherever it went, okay? And that was my take on the same thing. So, I'm going to let this set up and let it dry. I'm going to need a few hours. Look at the mess of this, look. The whole side of the car is full of it. Lucky that got be sanded anyway, but that's what I mean. This stuff travels everywhere. I got it on the floor there. I had a piece of cardboard there. I never used it much. But as you can see, it flew up in the air and it landed back on the car again. But I got to sand all this. The entire car is covered. But that has to be sanded anyway. I'll wash all that off with thinners before I does anything else with it. I tried to be like back here and on the bottom side was good. But the top side, no, not a question. But that's it. I'll let that set up. I'll go clean the gun up. And then when we come back, then I'll get all this painted. It's been a few hours now. All nice and dry. Nice texture to it. So I'm going to go ahead now, get the rest of this taped up here in front. And get this all painted. I never got carried away with taping this up. I'm going to cut off the frame rail right here, right along the welding on the edge of it here. And then there's a plate here I got welded on, and up alongside here. Tape that off. I'm just trying to have a spot where I can actually tape it off. And of course, then I got the firewall taped off. The tape's not sticking. There we go. It's better. And that's the extent of that. I'm going to paint this at low pressure. It's not like I'm worried about getting a nice flow or anything on it. I never tape none of this up here. Just a couple of strips of tape. I'm going to turn the fan over there on and open up the door right here and start painting. This is it. I got overspray on all this now. Oh, I got that rolling look. I got our gravel garden. That'll sand off. I got sand all that with 220 anyway, so there's no big deal because that's just the coating on that I got on it for now. I got to finish that off, block it all out, make sure I'm happy with it. If any body work got to be done, I'll, like in terms of straightening it up, I'll do it then. And then I'm repriming it then with some sort of automotive primer, something I can put on and next day come out and sand easily. It's good gear, but it takes forever to sand when you get into the 400 and stuff like that with it. I like it for its this is the 670HS. I like it for how strong it is and it doesn't shrink, all that type of stuff. So I'm just going to use it as a base to get everything done, and then I'll finish it off with a regular primer. But that's not what we're here for. I got to mix up some Trimclad now. I got a gallon out there now with some left in it. I'm going to throw a drop of tinners in it, take an old spray gun, put a respirator on, and give her. I should have enough there to paint the bottom of that. Got the old paint gun out, hose ready to go. I've reduced it with a drop of thinners, And I'm going to go in there now, turn the fan on, open up the garage door, put a respirator on, and get her painted. And there you have it. Everything is black. It was tricky because I had a lot of edges I got to get in around. And by doing so, I sprayed it in there. And of course, you know, I got things like this going on. Flow indicators. You notice something about that? I've never ever seen rust under a run. So I'm going to say the floor is never going to rust out of this car. But it's on the bottom side of the car. I'm not too concerned about it. I just want to make sure I get lots of paint on everything. Scattered drool here and there. Like there's no back doors, maybe there's another couple there. They're not so bad. Lots of paint on the wheel wells. This is all looks shiny now. It's got all dry satin. It'll look a lot better when it's dried. I never liked gloss black and stuff. It shows up all the flaws and imperfections. Satin kind of tones it down, right? But yeah, I'm pleased with that. That's another project done with it. Now I can actually put this back on his wheels. Everything is ready on the bottom side of this now that I can put the suspension and everything back in it. And start working on the firewall and the inside. But yeah, I used every drop of paint was there. It's just simple Trimclad. You see me, I just put it directly over everything. I never prepped everything too much. I never put any type of etch primer or nothing on it. If you want to, you can. This is a direct to metal type of paint. It is a type of car that's gone. This is not a daily driver, okay? This is going to be driven there scattered time and taken to the drag strip. There's a car that I done, that Chevy 2 that I did, and it's all done with the same paint, same process as this. And we done that car in 06, I think it was. So it's been a long time ago. That car's still holding up perfect. And that's here in Newfoundland, and it's driven every weekend at the drag strip here in the summertime. But anyway, I got this painted. The garage is extremely cold here now because I had to open up the doors. And everything is cold here. Had the fan going for a while. It's that time of year. So I got everything shut down here now. Doors and the fan. I'm going to turn the heat on for an hour or two. And just let her cook. Come out here in a little while and shut everything down. Anyway, I'll leave all that alone now. till tomorrow or whatever, and then I can turn around and flip this back down and get all suspension back, put back in it again. Oh, the fun of it all. So it's been a couple of days. I let it dry. You can see the nice satin sheen on everything there now. How nice it looks. You can see the texture now in the wheel wells. That was the look I was after. You can see the seam sealer patch going up through there. But that's the extent of that now. So this is ready now that I can actually put this down. So that worked out fine. So the bottom is completed, and I got this back down. Now, next thing I got to do, I got to paint everything in here, all this back here, everything here, all in the trunk. This is my next plan now, is to get all this painted, so I got paint on everything, get that finished. But before I do that, what I got to do is up here, I want to paint the dash, this upper section of the dash, the same time I paint that. I got to finish this stuff off. It's pretty well done. I just got to scuff it off and clean up around the roll cage, because I did get some filler and everything on the roll cage here. And I'm going to have to prime these sections here, and I'm just going to do that with simple little spray bombs, because I want to paint this the same time I do the floors, because this got to go satin black thing. And I had some small spots here that I want to just sand off. All the body work is done. I just want to rub it off and everything, get it all set up so I can actually get it primed, so I can let that set up, so then I can just scuff it off, and then when I goes to paint the floors, I can paint all this done and it's finished. Okay. Now another thing with this car, the Firewall, I want to do that white. Okay, I want to do that same color as the car. Now on these Toyotas, they have a serial number that's up here on the dash, but they had one more section of serial numbers which was on the Firewall, which was stamped into the body itself, which is this piece here. Okay, this piece here. There's a section of the original Firewall out of the car. I trimmed it all up and got it all dressed up, and I'm going to weld that in. It was right in the middle of the Firewall underneath the wiper arm on these here. I'm going to weld it into the Firewall there, just so that it has the serial number on the body itself, okay? Because that was belonged to the actual original Firewall. Now, fellas are always carrying on talking about factory firewalls and all that stuff. Factory Firewall. See, that'll be in it then. Like, oh, buy his factory Firewall. That stuff never bothered me, but there's fellas out there that are pretty hung up on the factory Firewall thing, and they don't consider this a street car or a road car, because the Firewalls are modified, but that's the rules. But still and all, they can go out and take a section of the chassis rail right here and replace every bit of a tubular and say that it's got factory front end in it, you know, which is irrelevant. And they leaves the Firewall in it, cuts the entire car out of it, much the same as I done here. And then because of the factory Firewall, they can pass certain classes and stuff like that. But up here in Newfoundland, there's no two cars built alike. We don't have any class racing. We don't have no rules when it comes to this stuff. And this was something I always wanted to build, was a car like this. And the reasoning why I modified the Firewall, because the motors hung too far off the front of these cars when you put a V8 in them. And I moved it back to off-center the weight on the back wheels. So I made my own Firewall. And I'm going to put this here now, clean that up. I was going to do the cotton bud on it, but if you're not familiar with this channel and this bloody car, this was a nightmare to weld, okay? Everything on this here. I'm going to clean her off a spot right here now. I'm going to lay that onto it, and I'm just going to weld it right into it, grind it, dress it, and fill it. It's going to be an overlap on it. I'm not concerned about it. I don't want to try to do the cut and butt in here with this sheet metal, because I'm going to end up warping everything up trying to get this here welded in. At least this is nice and structurally sound with this panel in place, because this is nice and solid. So I'll grind that off there, get that welded in. I'll get the bodywork done on this here and get all this stuff here primed. And then basically all that to be ready to go. I can go ahead, because the reason why I can't paint nothing in here till that piece is welded in, because I got to paint the back of the Firewall as well. See? So it's not good me well painting all this and have to grind and then burn it all up. So I'll get that all done and get this sanded, get that installed, and get that primed. Simple little patch. It's just an overlap. I'll fill all these edges here on the edge of this now to smooth it out, make it look original. But yeah, I've done a lot of lap panels over the years, and you know, that was part of my trade. It was how you done things fast. But in the case of this one here, I didn't want to get in trying to do the cut and butt in here for this panel, because this stuff was like 24 gauge, because that's the original Toyota metal. And I just wanted to have the embossment there with the serial number on it. So I'll get that done now and get this stuff sanded and get it primed. So I'm here now, and I got everything ready to go. I just taped everything off for a small bit. So I'm going to prime all the bare metal spots in it. All I'm doing with is spray bomb, okay? This is it. It's just an automotive primer sealer series. No, it says filler and sandable primer. 2 in 1. Yeah, okay, whatever. But I just want to put something on it. I just want to go painting over the filler. There, all that. So it's the next day now. I got that all primed and it's all nice and dry. I got that done. Over here I run into some problems. I primed where the actual serial number went, and when I come out and looked at it, I come to realize that the number disappeared because of the primer. So I noticed in this car here that there's 2 just regular steel rivets and they're not painted. So what I did is I drilled out the actual serial number, and I went and put it in soak and thinners and cleaned it off, and I got the number back again. So I'm going to have to leave this alone, paint the dash and everything, and then put the actual serial number back in place again. But it was wild because the primer, actually, when I primed over it and you come over and look at it, the entire number was gone. It's a very, very fine cut on the actual serial number tag, so you can't paint it. And I noticed that the 2 rivets are never painted on them. That tag was put on after the dash was painted, so I'm going to repeat the same process there now. So I got all this ready. I got to scuff that, so that'll be ready. Debating on this firewall. I'm thinking about just doing it black. I want to try to get all this painted and get it done over it. I was going to do it white. I got a lot of taping up to do. I don't know what to be at with it half the time, and trying to figure out where to start, where to stop. I got to do some filler work here where I put the actual serial number in it. Put a bit of filler on that and sand all this stuff here and get everything seam sealed. I went out and bought some seam sealer today so I can actually finish this off, because after using 2 cans on this now, and I need a little bit more to finish off this firewall here, so I can easily get that done. And here in the trunk, I did some small filler work in the corners here, over here, did a bit of filler work, and over there, a bit of filler work. I'm just going to give it a quick scuff off, and all I'm going to do with that is spray some gravel guard on it the same way as I've done the wheel wells, because this here has a gravel guard finish in here. It's hard to see, but there's a gravel guard finish there, and I want to spray that so it blends into it, so it don't look so bad. And that's all I'm going to do with that, so then all this here can be painted. So I'm just trying to move ahead with this car, and I find that I have a mindset of doing a whole bunch of fancy stuff, make a show car out of it. I'm just like, I got to back the bus up and say, I want to have a car I can enjoy and have fun. In the future, if I decide to paint it white, I can do it later on. But the biggest problem I'm having here now is the car keeps rusting on me, and I have to put this car in a trailer for a few weeks or for a month or so. I have another project I have in mind that I want to get done. Okay. We won't get into that now, but that's the reasoning behind it. I want to get paint on everything. So when I put it outside in the trailer, I got a car trailer. I bought a car trailer to put it in. It's out there in the yard over there. So I can store the car in that and won't have to worry about it getting surface rust or anything on all this stuff here. So I'm just going to paint it and have it all done. So I'm going to go ahead now, mix up some filler, get some filler on that, get the spot in the trunk, sand it, and get a gravel guard. And then when this is all ready to go, I think I'm going to do another bit of spray bomb on that there. But before it does that, I'm going to put some seam sealer on it. So I'm going to concentrate on getting this filled and primed, get all this seam sealed, sand it and seam sealed, and get the spot in the trunk done. So I went ahead and sanded all this. Didn't want to bore you with that. Sanded all that spot there, the filler on that. Then I went and sanded all the edges where there was rust and everything. Took the grinder to it, cleaned them all up. Had a couple of spot welds down here I had to grind off. And I went ahead and sanded all this. So now the next thing for this now is to get it all seam sealed. And all I got left then is to paint it all. Back here in the trunk, you can see me going with the gravel guard. I taped up this section over here because I didn't want the gravel guard to go onto the wheel tub. I wanted to do like a factory style. You can see the finish on it there better now. And I just blended it in to where it was the repairs were done. And you can hardly even see that there was anything done there. And I've done the same thing over on this side as well. Done the same thing in here. You can see the texture on it, the way the quarter panel was done. And I didn't want to get nothing on the wheel tubs like I was saying. And I just taped them off. So all that'll go black. And then this will just look like was the original style spray and gravel guard that was on it. So they're done. Just that's all ready to paint. Just untape that and leave that alone because it's probably still a bit wet there. So I'm going to go ahead now and get the front seam sealed. There it is. I got all that seam sealed up. Top side up there, inside the corner, and all that down in there. Seam sealed over in this way side as well. I seam sealed down there. I missed this last time. Seam sealing down here. For some reason, I forgot to seam seal this edge. So I had to go down around the corner with it. So don't do black now anyway. More I think about it, if I want to do this white, I'll do it later. I just want to get some paint on all this now. So I'm just going to do it all black for now, and if I want to paint it white, I'll scuff it and paint it white later. I just want to get coverage on it. The black that I'm putting on is a good base for it. But you can see, like I seam sealed all around where the steering column and everything is too, and around where the brake booster goes, all the seams. Just brushed on. I never got fancy, never take nothing off. Just let the brush do the work, and then you'll just have a rough brush finish. That's the way a lot of cars came like that. When he gets a color on that, it'll look perfect. So I'm going to let that all dry now and got everything ready to go. And I'm on to next thing on this now is I'm going to mix up some paint and get it painted. So I'll come out tomorrow and do that. It's a cold one today. When you turns that fan on, I gotta open the man door. When it opens up the man door, it sucks all the heat out of the place. So I got the heaters going. I got the one over here turned off for now so I can go over what I got done here. I just finished blowing everything off. I sanded the dash with a Scotch-Brite, a burgundy Scotch-Brite, and also primed and sanded this section here as well where I put the serial number in. What I got to do next now is I got to tape all this up. Tape up what I can. Try to keep the overspray to a limit. I got to do some taping up inside here. I don't know where I'm going to cut stuff off. It's all going satin black. I'll be cracked here if I start taping up roll cages and everything. It is what it is. I just want to get paint on it. If I don't like it, I'll address it later. I'm thinking too much, too in depth into this about all the issues I'm going to run into, and I just got to close my mind and just totally just go paint it and get it done. Just tape up the big stuff. I got to tape up this dash here, along here, this type of stuff, because I want to do a nice job on this. And as you can see, I got to paint part of my roll cage, but where do I end, right? I might just blend it in there, and that's it. Be done with it, because it is satin black and it shouldn't be too noticeable. And same with the firewall down here. I taped it off before, but I'm just going to leave it alone now because I'm doing it all satin black, and I'm just going to paint this here, and whatever overspray goes underneath the car goes underneath the car, because it's all satin black. So, in saying all that, I'll get this all taped up. Well, as you can tell, we've after getting a bit of snow. It's been like it now for a few weeks. We seem to get a bit of snow and get some rain, beats down on it. It's been a while since we had weather like this. I usually, like last winter, I think it was, I used my plow truck 3 times the entire winter. This is only January now, and it's been four times now after using the truck. Well, it's going to be a rough winter, I'd say. But I got all that done this morning. I'll come out here now and get this thing taped up and get back at this and get this painted. This is priority 1 right now. Trying to get this all done. So I'm going to go ahead, continue on here, get this taped up, and have it so that I can actually get some paint on this, possibly today. I'm not getting carried away with this. I'm just wiping off the dust that's on it. It's been laid around. I wiped over everything. And that's all I'm doing with it. I got everything else wiped up there. I got all the dash. I'm going to repaint all this section here again. No worries. But I got it all taped up and it's ready to go. Let's get painting. So she's all taped up. I cleaned her all off, as you see. I never got carried away with taping this up, because this here is just a primer coat and I got to sand it anyway, and all I'm concerned about is getting everything in black. I taped this section up here, the dash I was concerned about, the firewall, like I said. It is what it is. I'm going to try to paint this with low pressure and just paint everything. My main concern is when I go to paint it, this is easy stuff. You're looking at all this and saying, yeah, well, that's going to be the last thing I'm going to paint. I got to paint up underneath there, all this firewall section here, and all in these corners in here and in here. Get all that painted first and leave all this stuff here to last. Up here, I can get this from up here without a problem. And of course, the trunk. In the trunk here, I'm going to go paint all this up in here, inside there. Get all that painted first. Do a couple of coats on that and get it all done. So that way when I come out here, I can just do a nice job just painting all this section out here. So I'm going to get this all ready now and mix up some paint and start painting. Mixing it up 1-to-1 with dinners. Look at me bucket, look. Salt beef. I got lots of them around. Gone from salt meat to painting apparatus. Anyway, get this mixed up and get painting. So I'm here now, and I got all the spots. The hard to reach areas. You see me painting everything. All the bottom side of that is done. Up along there, I went and done the bottom side up here underneath that, and I done in the corners here and here, down around the bottom there, trying to get stuff done, and up and underneath there as well. I got all that done. But as you can see, it's cold here. I got the heat left on, and the fan is going. I got the door open, and it's cold here, so it's going to be a while for this to set up. But I'm going to go ahead now and just paint everything else. Paint everything else as I'm going, because the stuff covers really well, and I wanted to make sure I got lots of paint up there. So that's done. I'm going to go on and I'll paint everything. I'll leave all this section here to last, because I got to paint that in there and this back here. So I'll go back to painting, and when that comes back, all this will be black. I got to get this done. Well, I got the first coat on everything, and it's after getting really cold here, and I want to put 2 coats on stuff. I'm not painting this yet until I get 2 coats on everything else. This here I can just do 1, 2 like that, because it's pretty flat, and I'm not concerned about runs. I had to close up the door, because I opens up the door to get the ventilation for the fan to suck out. If not, it'll draw everything from the garage. The garage is too airtight. So I'm just here now. I'm going to let this sit for an hour, because it is cold here. I got the heaters on in the garage. Let them run for a while. Let this flash off, because I've noticed already in some spots it's very awkward. The hose, where it's cold here, is very stiff. Then I got the full gun and everything, and trying to work your way in around all this stuff with the hose and everything. Keeps hopping off stuff. And I got a scattered flow indicator. Can I get them in there in the picture? You see him there, over there. Flow indicators in there. It won't rust here, I can guarantee you that. I'm just trying to get paint up underneath the bottom of this here, and of course, that's what happens. But when you're doing this type of stuff, I was never concerned about it. Once this all goes set, it'll be brand new, it'll look perfect. And my days of worrying about runs are over with. So, on this type of stuff anyway. Anyway, I'm going to let this set up. Come in, bang another coat on it in an hour or so when it flashes off a bit. Well, there you have it. I got a good 3 coats on that. I got in here and started putting the second coat on, and I was on the other side over there, sitting down, painting the back. And I never did it once, but I've done it twice. Sitting down right here, painting in there, facing outwards. This here is the height of my head, and I come out right up solid in this. Well, I'm telling you, what a smack in the head I give myself twice. So I was in no mood to be at anything then. So I just stuck at it and got it all done. Got everything painted, a couple of coats on everything, a good 3 coats on it. I don't know if there's any runs in the transmission tunnel. I was kind of hoping not to get any runs in the transmission tunnel, but I had to put 3 coats on that, one after the other. But this here was all, I let this all set up and everything. But once I went in and I painted all this a couple of times, and then when I was done I had to come back out here and paint this. So what I did then is I done all this here twice, and then I come out here, done this, and went back, done the trunk, then done the dash, and then the firewall, and then come back and done this again, right? That's the way I done that. just trying to give it a bit of time to set up, but I'm pleased with it. It took about not quite 2 quarts of black. Now that stuff you mix it 1 to 1, so, and I like putting this stuff on heavy. The more you put on, the better the finish is when the satin's out. Now this has got all satin out now, and now I never like shiny black on stuff like this here. Some people looking at this and think, oh, how nice that looks, but no, I find it looks a lot nicer when it's satin. So I'm done here now. I'm going to bar everything up, shut everything down, leave it for the night, and I'll show you what it looks like tomorrow. Now the next day, and I'll have everything on taped. You see the nice little satin finish to it. I love that look. All right. Transmission tunnel. There's no filler work on that, by the way. All you see there is just metal finished. Up along there. All along the back there. I painted a lot of the roll cage again. It seemed to blend in pretty good. I did a blend right here on the roll cage. It seemed to work out pretty good. If you look at it, there you go. So that seemed to work out. Nothing fancy. That's the nice thing about satin black. It's just like overspray. But all that's done up in there. Painted all the dash, or the steering column and all that again. Top of the dash come out really nice. Look at that, look. Going across there. Nice satin finish to it all. Right. That's done. And the firewall's all done. I may come back to this. I may end up doing that white. I may just leave it alone in black. The biggest issue I'm having with this car is that I got a vision in my head, and all my visions seem to take up a lot of, it's labor intense. And I'm looking to finish this car off, and I'm thinking about what the car is and what I'm going to use it for. Like, how perfect have I got to have it? Because I'm going to do too good of a job and too nice of a job, and I'm not going to use it. So in saying all that, you know, I decided, like, I had visions. I was going to do all the bottom of the car white and all the interior white. The trunk was going to go all white. And no, I just, like, to me, it's like it needed a lot more labor to get it to that point that you'd be able to do it all in white. Like, this looks good now, but satin black looks good on almost everything. Like, if you look over here, if you look closely in the light, you can see the grinding marks. All that would have to be addressed if I was going to do it all white. Like, that would all have been filled and all that type of stuff, and I wasn't going getting into that. I'm quite happy with this here. By the time I get this all done and gets this all carpeted up and everything, you won't see it. It's just that, like, my brain, like, thinks about, like, trying to make everything perfect, and that was always a problem I had, especially where I had the restoration shop. It was up fine for that, but when you're at your own stuff, like, I got other stuff here I got to get back at, and I've been spending time at this trying to get this done now, and I got it to the point now where everything is covered. I got paint on everything, the bottom side, everything. I haven't got to worry about it no more. The whole body is all in primer. That's good, because the problem I had with this car was it kept rusting on me. Everywhere there was bare metal, it rusted on me. So now I got everything covered. I can relax, okay? At this stage of the game now, I can start putting this together, because the bodywork end of it, that can be addressed at any time at all. I can start doing the brakes, the suspension. I have a bunch of that stuff here. I'm running all the stock stuff. For now, people are saying you need this, needs tubular and all that. Anyway, there's one side there. A control arm, stub axle. I got different brakes for it. I got to dig all that out. All this got to be sandblasted. I got new, as you can see, there's new ball joint there. I got new ball joints, and I got to check, see what I got there, way bushing. So I got a lot of stuff. Like, I got to order in this bushing here, right? Quite possibly. This bushing right here. Probably got to order that one in. The rear end, I got a rear brace got to be put on it. I got spring purchased that got to be done here, rear brace. This here got to be all rebuilt. I ordered a disc brake kit for this here with the handbrake and everything on it before Christmas, and it's not even gone through yet. It's very odd, okay? I'm just waiting on to hear back on that because I need the disc brake set up to get it. I'm trying to finish the bottom of the car next. I like to get all the suspension in it, front and rear suspension. I'd like to get the brakes done, brake lines ran, the brake booster in, brake pedal in, the brakes blade, so there's full brakes on the car. That's what I'd like to do next on this car here and get all that stuff ready so the suspension is finished. I will upgrade this somewhere down the road with fancier stuff, but I don't need it. It's just a waste of money right now. You know, it's still going to be able to move under its own power and drive. A lot of that tubular stuff is more for weight and just to be cool, I think, if you ask me. Because I'm old school. To me, factory parts work just fine for me. I'm looking to go fast with the car. I'm not looking to make it look perfect and all brand new and have it full of aftermarket parts. I'm old school, hot rodder. I love using stock parts. Anyway, this is where we're going to leave this one. I got a lot done on this. All the bottom has been done. I've done all the seam sealing that had to be done on the bottom. All the bottoms are painted. All the gravel guard work has been done. All the firewall work's done. I got the serial number put in it. You can see it. Hard to see. There you go. The serial number section put back in the firewall. That's welded in. Firewall's painted. The entire car was all painted. So I can start figuring things out. But for now, I got to get back at this truck and back at that car. So I got to do some work on this one here. I got to get this done and get this out of the shop. And this car here is priority one. I got waiting for some parts to come in for it, cross members. So I got to get that done. So that's where we're going to leave this one here. I'm going to go ahead now. I'm not going to bore ye. I'm going to get this off and the suspension, everything back in it, get a roller out of it again. But, you know, that's here and there because I want to get all this taken down. I won't need this for a while now. It's getting on my nerves. Where it's cold here, it's hard to heat the shop with it. But anyway, that's where we're going to leave this one. I hope the tips were good. And until next time.